Hey, Disturbing listeners, Love is Blind. Let's watch.
It's fine to
But
cry.
no, like, it's like hard to talk about. But yeah, it was like definitely like something like I've never experienced before. So it was like hard.
It was hard for all of us.
I was crying because I was like getting like fucking beaten down.
Yeah, she's talking about the way in which Leo was talking to her. There's a lot of adjectives we could use for the way Leo was. Aggressive, intimidating, abusive, manipulative, emphatic, something, you can choose what adjectives you want. And she's saying that she was crying because of that. He did say something, or I don't know if I included the clip, but he said it's okay to cry. Yeah, so I just want to say that's good that he's saying that.
Yeah. No, I know.
I've never been treated like that before.
Yeah. It takes a strong woman to go in there and be themselves, right? It takes a strong man to go in there and let their wall down. I found myself tearing up. Like, there's dudes in the pods.
Did.
I don't think Nick understands what's being told to him. I don't know how much she has said. We know because we saw it, but I don't think he's understanding, or she's not emphasizing it enough. We're also hearing that she said that she has never been treated like that before, which I'm happy about. It'd be a different thing if she said, well, I know what abuse looks like. I know what intimidation and manipulation looks like. And that was that. That was the way I was being treated. We're not hearing that. What we're hearing is maybe the evidence of a good childhood. I don't know.
Okay.
Nikki's nuts.
I never heard that one before.
That's one that we the girls use in the pod.
Oh my God. Was I a hot commodity in the pods?
We just talk shit about you.
That's good. That means I'm a hot commodity.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's asking, looks like a serious question. It's interesting that he's asking that question. There's a lot of other questions he could ask. He could ask, what were people saying about me? Instead, it's, was I a hot commodity? And in terms of the edits, so at some point, kind of, in the beginning, a lot of the women were talking about him in terms of the edit. Pretty quickly, though, they seemed to all agree that he was fake or Rico Suave or a F-boy or insincere or something. So there's that. I'll commend Hannah for dodging the question, I think, and being truthful with an answer, but not really giving the full answer. It's pretty good. Because if you're wanting to marry someone, you don't have to, and you don't know how they're going to react. Maybe when they get closer, she would be able to trust that he could handle the truth.
I want to see what the girls look like for sure. What these beautiful women look like. Not in that way.
I don't care. They're beautiful.
Your lips aren't done up, right?
What?
Your lips aren't done up, right?
Like injections?
Yeah.
No.
I know. I'm just making sure.
Shit, I might get them though.
You ain't need them.
Like a real.
You don't need them.
All right, they did a manipulative edit there, which I'm not a fan of at all. Let's rewind that. When he asked her, or when he said he is looking forward to seeing the other women, they inserted a face of hers that I am 95% sure did not happen in that moment. Let's rewind that.
Look like for sure. What these beautiful women look like.
That face right there, because immediately after this, she is, because even if you look at her body language, it just doesn't match up. And I hate that shit. It's like, there's enough story there. We as an audience can react to what he just said. It, I'm sure, has a lot of various reactions, but I think most people will be like, why are you saying that? We don't need to see it on her face. We don't need her face to tell us that what he said was a little odd. Let's rewind that. So, pay attention to the way that they inserted that face and then what she says after that.
Yeah.
I want to see what the girls look like for sure. What these beautiful women look like. Not in that way.
I don't care. They're beautiful.
Your lips aren't done up, right?
What?
Your lips aren't done up, right?
Like injections?
Yeah.
No.
I know. I'm just making sure.
Shit, I might get them though.
I don't really understand the sort of impulses that he has regarding the things that he says. There's been a lot of moments where I'm thinking, where is that coming from? What are you getting? Do you think it's is this a joke, or are you curious? Is there some cultural thing that I'm unaware of that he's referring to right now? And she's rolling with it well. I'll give her that. There's a lot of different reactions that she could be having. She's pretty good at rolling with what other people are putting down.
Like, because, like, after your kids are going to be, like, saggy and sad. Can't have it all. I wish I could.
I can. You got it all. I hope you know that.
When I first met Nick during the reveal, it was shocking. He, like, built himself in a way that was, like, different than maybe what he is. Like, I imagine, like, a really big guy.
Let's finish these drinks and get in the water.
Yeah. Well, maybe Hannah's okay with it. They're not giving us the full interview, so we don't know what she said after that point. She might have said, and therefore I'm repulsed by him, or in spite of that, I'm really attracted to him, or something. Well, I guess we'll find out.
Okay. Look-wise, like, I definitely go for, like, the really big, like, jockey guy, like 6'5", handsome, best-looking guy in the room.
Feels good, right?
Okay, well, a fair amount of cast members will say that the person that they meet in the hallway is not their type. And it just makes me wonder how many people are limiting themselves based on the way someone looks on Instagram or something. You know, we've always probably done that throughout history, but I wonder if it's a bigger deal now or something, because I'm trying to think if in my circle, I don't think in my circle when I was this age that people would say that. I mean, I think we would identify in other people. Well, I think they have a type. You would see a theme, but I don't remember people thinking that, well, I usually go for this sort of thing. It's more just whatever comes your way. There's a lot of different sorts of people. Why would you limit yourself? But anyway, you know, and attraction is attraction. There's just not much you can do about it. So there's nothing wrong with having a type.
He's been so gentle. He's been so funny. And he's made me feel so at ease and comfortable. And if it keeps going the way it's going, then I'll absolutely marry him tomorrow, right? He's the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. It's just different than what I expected, maybe. But I'm physically attracted to Nick, yeah. Oh, wow.
Okay, so she's picking up what he's putting down. Lid for every pot.
Mr. Suave.
Mrs. Suave.
What are those swans over there?
I mean, I told you I want to take one of them for a ride.
Yeah, God, Nick, don't do it. I can't look.
What do you mean?
It's gonna give me the ick.
Why does that give you the ick? what about that?
Man, riding things makes me feel uncomfortable.
But if you ride it, it's hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Women can do no wrong.
Okay, so they're just having some playful banter, and he is saying he's going to ride one of those bird things. And she says it gives me the ick to see a man riding something. And I don't know, just playful talking.
You do a lot of right, though, for a man. That's why I love you.
You say all the right things, don't you? So you don't want to ride any of those ducks?
Go ride it. I'll just turn my head.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah? You want to come ride with me? Yeah, come on. Come on.
Nick, no.
All right, so a random woman says, I want to ride those too or something, and he says, come ride them with me, and then Hannah says, no.
Nick is an idiot. I'm sorry.
Okay. We're going to race 5 yards in front of us. Sure. Yeah, we're going to see who wins, okay?
He's a moron, dude.
I think under normal circumstances, say a few years or even just a few months into the relationship, this would not be so emphasized or, I don't know, threatening or bothersome. I think that in the initial few days, there's just so many question marks that people should really be careful about things that are totally fine. It's totally fine he wants to ride one of those birds. They're having drinks, so I think he's getting a little fun time attitude. And then some random person says, hey, I want to ride this too. And he's like, okay, I mean, what do we think is going to happen? That Nick is going to have sex with that other woman and run off with her? It's ridiculous. He's just socializing, and she could socialize with them, or just be okay with your fiance happening to interact with a woman. There's nothing wrong here. And, you know, she's not reacting. She's just embarrassed, I think, because it looks goofy or something.
Where are you from?
I'm from the States.
Nick!
Oh, she's jealous. Don't be jealous. Not be jealous.
All right,
No, I'm not jealous, but like...
I'm gonna draw a line in the sand.
So Hannah's looking over at her handlers, her production staff, and saying, I'm not jealous, and it's possible that she isn't jealous. She's just embarrassed. She wants to be more subtle or less out there in the world. I don't know. You know, he likes to ride. I don't know what those things are exactly.
You have to stay on the duck. You have to stay on the duck and you gotta ride it. Right to that line.
Uno,
Dos, tres.
Yeah. Well, so it'll be interesting to see how she manages this. I have faith that Hannah will roll with it. That's my guess.
He cannot be trusted.
All right, well, the musical cue certainly affects things. They're playing funny music, and then when they start to interact, it gets quiet, and then we hear the he's talking. He's had a couple of drinks, and he's talking to someone. It's a bit of an adolescent attitude that he shouldn't be talking with women. You know, there's a line, right? You should think about how your partner would be reacting. And like I said in the beginning, the early days, everything becomes exaggerated, right? Is this a sign? Is he a player? Is he an F-boy? Is he trustworthy? That kind of thing. And, he doesn't have to socialize with these other women. So if I were him, I would refrain, because it's not important and there are bigger things at stake. You don't know how your wife is going to or how your fiance is going to react to this. But on the other hand, people can't talk to people. There's rules about this sort of thing. Now, if he starts genuinely flirting, which the music makes me think that's going to happen. So let's watch this.
Wow, you guys have a good day. You're a good competitor.
Okay, so that was that. And then, I mean, if I were Hannah, I'd be just more concerned with how dorky he is, really. I mean, concerned or charmed or noticing. The flirting aspect is, because there's a chance that he actually, I would take a guess and say that he's not flirting, that he is being goofy. This is revealing a part of his personality that's really goofy. Or dorky, or fun, extroverted, whatever. So I think that's what's happening. I mean, they're playing, the musical cue is manipulative. I wish they would leave that out and just show us the footage, because if we just think about it, he went over to those dumb bird things, and then some woman's like, let's do a thing. He's like, okay, it's race, and they do a little race, and then she walks off, and then he rides it again by himself. Like, what is? It's just dorky.
Was that hot?
Told you it was gonna give me the ick, man.
That's fine. You still love me.
Maybe.
I also wonder if he is trying to communicate something. You know, they've had a fair amount of interacting. I think they've only been together in Mexico for 24 hours. Maybe he is trying to push back, you know, that maybe there's a passive aggression here or a passive communication, that he should be allowed to have fun or be himself, that she's too uptight about having fun in public or something, or he feels like he wants to test the limits of her attraction or something. Because under normal circumstances, someone in his position wouldn't take, you know, it's like, why does he need to do this? And she was like, it gives her the ick. So I wonder if there's some kind of conflict or mild negotiation that's happening right now. And we can use this as a jumping off point. These things happen all the time. I think particularly in the beginning of a relationship, but it happens ongoing, particularly around things that are conflictual. And for you yourself, you can think about your close relationships, and people sometimes call them games in a sense, and I suppose they are, but a lot of it is subconscious, and it's based on the premise that we believe we can't trust our partners to directly communicate, or we have never heard an example of people directly communicating, or we're not really aware of our own feelings about things. I'm trying to think of a common example in people's lives. Like if you think you're doing more chores than your partner, then as you're doing a chore in front of your partner, you might make more noise or something. And you really want to say to your partner, hey, it hurts my feelings, it bothers me, it angers me that I'm doing more of the chores. Instead, there's a passive communication about it, a passive aggression, like slamming the pots into the sink or that kind of thing. Or saying, I don't feel like having sex tonight because I'm so worn out from doing the chores. These are passive ways of communicating. And it has that kind of look to it. It looks like he's trying to communicate something to her. It looks like she's just kind of reacting the way that she does, and it looks like he's trying to, especially that second one. And I don't know if the music is manipulating me, but let's keep an eye on that.
Would you be mad if I kissed this duck?
No, do you?
I know it gave you the ick, but you really aren't feeling it, huh?
Yeah. If he came back and was just like, now what do we do? Then I would think he's just having fun and following his impulses. But he comes back and then he doubles down and says, what if I kissed it? And then he comes back and says, I know this give you the ick. And so, yeah, I wonder if so there's been a fair amount of talk between the two of them about attraction now that they're seeing each other. And they have said a lot of things to each other and in the one-on-one interviews indicating that they are attracted to each other. So on one hand, I tend to believe that. Right? They seem pretty free with their words around that. It doesn't seem busted up and deceptive. But I also wonder if... So he actually, now I think about it, he has said a number of things regarding his body. He was talking, I don't think I showed, but he was talking about like a birthmark or something on his arm. And when they first were in Mexico and he is taking off his shirt and I couldn't tell if he was being serious or joking about, it's like, oh, this is the body that you're always trying to get my shirt off or something like that. And she was playing along and being nice about it, not jabbing at him. At his ego. She was intuiting what to say, and or she's just completely, attracted and everything's good there. And I wonder if he has a history or something of being bullied or humiliated, shamed, something. Okay, so I stepped out of the office. I have a bunch of water splattered on because I was doing the laundry. So that explains that. But hopefully that'll dry over time. So with defenses, it is in response to relational traumas, typically, experiences that are difficult for us. And if we imagine that he has had some body shaming or humiliation or something, rejection, and he concluded it was because of the way that he looks or his body or something, and it has this major question mark in his soul about his worthiness or his attractiveness or his good enoughness when it comes to his body, and is really worried about it, but isn't aware of it and or doesn't feel confident enough in himself or other people to communicate directly about it. And he is walking around worrying about that. And so, or maybe to expand it, maybe it's not just his body, but it could just be rejection in general for who he is. There's a question mark about whether or not, and we all have that, especially in a situation like this, right? That we would wonder, do they really love me? Are they really attracted to me? And if they are, is that going to last? I don't know this person. I don't know what's going to happen. That's totally normal. That's not an insecurity. That's an acknowledgement of reality. But how do we respond to it, right? It's going to give everyone a little bit of anxiety, but how much anxiety do we have? How aware of the anxiety? How do we process? What do we do with the anxiety? What other sort of defenses do we have? So I wonder if he has, a fair amount of rejection trauma or body shame trauma or something. And so a defense kicks in of, I need to come across like I am super good looking. I have maybe even convince myself that I am super good looking, and that is reflected in the way that I talk, the Henry Cavill thing. Or I know I have to lie to people in order to get them to like me or something. And I also have to ask a lot of questions. It's front and center in my mind. Does this person love me? What do they think of my body? What do they think of who I am? And I will frequently do things to find out that answer. In the process, though, without knowing what we're doing, without self-awareness, without a fair amount of therapy, then the defense can cause the problem. It can answer the question for us in a way that we don't want it to be answered. For him, it's possible that he is worried that he's going to be rejected for his body and for his goofiness or his personality or his face or something. And instead of just waiting and seeing and just having a free-flowing emotional experience, he is so there's two parts of this. One is that if you have those kinds of traumas, you start assuming that other people are having those negative thoughts for you because that's what you've experienced in the past. So part of you assumes that and gets angry at it because you're thinking, how dare you judge me this way? It's similar if you have abandonment trauma and you're getting close to someone and you start thinking that they're going to abandon you. And a part of you is angry at that person because you're thinking, how dare you abandon me? How dare you lie to me? Even though they haven't and they're not going to abandon you. But you start getting angry because there's a part of you that believes it's happening or it's going to happen. And then you might start to act against that. Maybe that's what's happening right now. Another thing that you would try to do is you would like an answer to the question sooner than later. You don't want to be vulnerable longer than you have to. If she's going to reject me, I should find out sooner than later because then I won't be as invested. I won't be waiting in limbo this whole time. And so I have to prod her with various different aspects of myself and goofiness to see, does she really love me? People do this all the time when they're insecure. It's not the only way that people cope with this, but it is a very common behavior. Now, if we are aware of it and the couple is aware of it, then it can be managed. It doesn't mean you have to suppress that urge. It just means you have to be conscious of it and maybe let it guide you towards more healthy communication. Like if that was happening for him, and it's very speculative, a different awareness for him would be like, okay, what's happening for me right now? How intense is it? Do I need to do anything about it? Is there anything I can do about it that's healthy? Okay, I think I do need to do something about it. Maybe I need to pull her aside and just ask her for some reassurance, be vulnerable and say, I know you've been really nice and you've said that you love me and that you're attracted to me. It would help me if you could just reiterate that a little bit. I'm sorry for being, maybe you see this as a weakness or something, but I've learned that it's better that I ask than to try to suppress my worry, which can result in me writing random ducks on a... Was that what this episode is called? What the Duck? Is that why this episode's called that? So it's possible that he is trying to find an answer to that question. And there is a bit of hostility that is being communicated, right? It's like, oh, this gives you the ick. Well, let me show you what this is. I'll give you the ick. So you have the ick about that while I'm smiling, but really on the inside I'm angry at you because you're already judging me, even though she wasn't really. She was just kind of playing around, I think. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.